Welcome to another episode of Success Diaries. Our guest today is Aliey Abbas. Aliey Abbas is a multifaceted author, a young aviator, currently serving as president of the Student Aviation Club of Nigeria, guiding aspiring aviators. As a global advisor with Because International, he mentors founders, startups, and entrepreneurs worldwide. A fellow at Said Business School, University of Oxford, where he was chosen to be one of the young people to lead Africa to global markets, and one of the only two Al-Sharq fellows in Nigeria. Aliey Abbas passionately advocates for peace, humanity, and global development. As a global youth ambassador with Their World UK, he champions SDG 4, emphasizing global education. He's also a YIP fellow with the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism and also the leading chairperson of the Nigerian alumni. Recognized by his worldwide impact and advocacy, Aliey Abbas is also a dedicated volunteer, activist, and leader of the Sahel region. He further connects and inspires through his podcast, Aliey Abbas Inspires. Mr. Aliey Abbas, welcome to Success Diaries.
Thank you.
You wear multiple hats as a young aviator and the president of Student Aviation Club Nigeria. What initially led you into aviation?
Well, I'd rather say just like the normal dream that everybody has as a child. The typical everybody, some people wants to be pilot, wants to be lawyer, wants to be doctor. I also was driven by the idea of wanting to be a pilot as a child. But then being faced with many back and forth and the typical Nigerian parents' ideologies, my mom didn't like the idea because coming from someone who has lost 2 children and then I became her last surviving child, she was like, a pilot is just a driver as a barrier. So I couldn't go against what she wanted. So I couldn't go for it at that particular time. But then I was still saddled with the idea of looking out for a profession I might want to go for, from wanting to be an architect and then push back to want to be a doctor. But then I realized all those things were not really what I wanted. So I still kept moving back and forth. So over that, I wanted to study abroad. So I told her again. And again, she said she wouldn't let me. As of then, I wouldn't really understand why, because apparently, as a child, she's looking out, she's been protective and all that. That's the only person that she already has left. And then for me, I'm only seeing her as a barrier, someone who's stopping me from achieving my dreams. So over time, I kept pushing that I have to. So they gave me a condition that I must go and study in any institution in Nigeria first. And if I'm able to pass through, then they will allow me to travel abroad. The typical parents doing that. So I decided to do that as well. I think I went to Sokoto State Polytechnic in Sokoto and I studied statistics. And then after I came back with the result, they told me that, oh, you can just as well continue the studies here. You don't have to travel again. So disappointed and I felt bad and stuff like that. I had to do something. And I decided to leave home, but I never told anyone. So one day they just woke up and have disappeared. That created tension. And they started looking for me in TV stations and all that. There were reports of me being lost. Meanwhile, I was on my way to Kaduna from KB.
Oh.
When I landed in Kaduna, I have no idea where I was going to. I just had to reach out to a relative that had their number, called, and they gave me directions where to meet them. So I talked to a taxi driver, and then the taxi driver brought me to particularly where they wanted me. And when I got there, they picked me up, and then they take me home to their own place. And then they had to reach back home to tell them that, oh, they found me and I'm safe and stuff. I'm in Kaduna. Shock to my mom. She didn't expect that. So that was almost like one of the biggest bold moves I've made in my life, because I would never have gone against my mom initially, because she's a very strict woman who is also disciplined and make sure that she also disciplines us very well in that aspect. But then I felt like I was missing out on something. I always wanted more. That's more reason why I had to pull that stunt. And then the next day, my uncle in Kaduna also mentioned that I should be brought to his place. When I came there, he said, get ready, you're going back to KB. That was my nightmare again. But then there's nothing I could do because I'm already in their hands. So I was sent back to KB the next day. So back to my cage again, it still felt more crazier for me. And I was still planning and thinking of another way to live again. And then after a few months, I decided to talk to my mom and told her that, oh, I want to come and spend time with my uncle here in Kaduna. At least now they know where I'm going to. They should let me be, since I'm not in school or stuff like that. So she let me. So I traveled back to KD, went to my uncle's place. In a short time, he fell sick. When I get to Kaduna, I didn't know what to do. And I was faced with an opportunity to be in the movie industry. So I fell into the movie industry through Belsha Media Press. That was the first time I was ever on a camera. So I was caught up between acting, caught up between movie shows, caught up between hosting events and all that. And over time, again, my uncle fell sick and I was absent in the media house again. So because I had to be taking care of him because I was the one who was with him. So he passed away and I became alone. And then I was unproductive again because as of then again, COVID hits and then everybody was taxed for staying home. So you can't really go anywhere. So I was still home, not knowing what I could do, just home, wake up, eat, watch films, repeat the same thing.
Yes.
And as of that time, there was an app called Musical.ly, which is now known as TikTok, apparently. So when I was in Musical.ly then, when a company in India reached out to me to create videos for them as a contract, and they will pay me for it. They sent me a contract to sign, and I signed. I think per video, I will be paid like $100. And then after that, they will be paying me upfront half the payment. After I submit the videos, I get half the remaining payment. I started creating videos and I wasn't consistent actually. But then the contract was terminated within 3 weeks, I think, after that. So, but the videos I created, they paid me and that passed. And I went back to being unproductive again, repeating the same thing over and over again. I was just laying down one day when I saw an advert about an aviation school in Abuja and I applied without telling my mom about it. Because somehow I was shocked because, you once had a dream and then now here it is staring at you. I didn't even know, I have no idea how to even go about it. So I reached out to her, I told her that, oh, I've seen this school, I want to enroll at. I will give you all details, so you can just enroll me. She was happy because finally, I'm now deciding to school here in Nigeria, so she's happy. So I sent her all details, she paid for everything, and then I enrolled. I started with a course in ticketing and reservation. And after I did that, in about 8 months I finished, I still was fascinated with the idea of wanting to be in the skies. So without her knowing, I applied for the flight school, which was an affiliated school in the United States of America. And after that, I enrolled without even her knowing. I think I processed everything, got support, funding and stuff from different entities, even from the school itself, because it's more like a support group for young people with dreams of wanting to fly as pilots and all that. So that's how I was able to do my course. And then, from her not wanting it to over time with just eventually just allowing it be, because I think she could do because I've already enrolled and all that. And that's how I found myself in the aviation industry.
And that's your own path, so she really can't do anything about it now. How does your leadership as the president of the Student Aviation Club help grow the next generation of aviators in Nigeria?
My story to aviation actually inspired a lot of young people and has taken me up in the industry a lot, to a point whereby I was reached out by the board members of the Student Aviation Club to serve as an ambassador first. So I served as an ambassador in the year 2022 with Student Aviation Club, and my work with them and my exposure to letting people know about Student Aviation Club has made me the president as of 2023. So I became the president of Student Aviation Club in the year 2023. And then in shaping what we do in Student Aviation Club is actually reach out to all those young minds who want to be in the skies, who have aspirations in the aviation industry. We guide them, we coach them, we mentor them. We also give them different opportunities that are in the aviation industry, knowing that in the market, a lot of people don't know about the job opportunities in the aviation. So what we do is actually give people the exposure to that opportunities.
Yeah. As a global youth ambassador with Their World UK, you champion SDG 4. What are the biggest barriers to global education?
Different countries that are developing, the developing countries now, I'll say maybe they must have passed most of those global challenges in education, but they're still thriving. Education is one thing that keeps evolving every day. And then if you're not going with the trends, you might actually be left behind. So in a space like us, for Nigerians, I feel like one of the biggest challenges that we face is the learning in our own dialects, in more essence. having to study in a different language, it's more difficult than it is to study in your own traditional dialect or ideological language that you already have in your own country. So in more essence, you found out that what you study, you might not really even understand until years later what you've actually studied or understand. That's when you are even proficient in the language that you studied in. But imagine if we live in a world whereby everyone is told to embrace the idea of learning using their own dialects, using their own languages and ways with the issues that is harboring their own communities. I think the world will have really solved a lot of issues way easier and faster than having to go to a different space or learn in a different language that's not really originally your own. And that has created a huge barrier in shaping the global challenges of education. So if that can be embraced, I think that education will actually solve more issues faster and easier than the way it is currently. So that I would say is a really great barrier, and in more essence actually contributes in helping us or stopping us from solving real issues in our communities.
You've authored a book that seeks to fix broken homes and raise productive children. What are some of the causes of broken homes that you've noticed?
Well, I would just start maybe probably part of my story. I grew up in a family full of drama, though my both parents are divorced. So I grew up with my mom as a single parent who parent a child. So her family has a lot of like drama, apparently, which is understood to happen in most families and all that. And growing up in that kind of family, I always thought that I might actually be the one to be able to bring an end to that drama. So I always try, even if my parents are fighting with each other, I always try to be the neutral person, be in between, try to show that there is no issue. I can be with this person and be with this person at the same time. But it was perceived in a different way. And I was misunderstood in that aspect as well, of someone who was trying to make things better, rather they see me as someone who was just looking to find a place to be with other people. So problems escalated a lot, and I didn't know how to do that because the voice of the young persons or children are not really heard most of the time. So when you try to bring logical or sensible suggestions to dialogues or solving issues that are harboring family, they tend to perceive you as someone who doesn't know what he's doing. You're too young, you don't know what you're saying, you don't know what's going on, but you wake up every day and you see these things and you genuinely feel that these things are wrong in the family. But then what you're saying is not what they're saying. You are saying the disconnection, you are saying how the family is becoming, the rift is created in the family and how everybody is disconnecting from each other. And that's not what you want, because the typical you grows up in a family who is a happy child, where everyone is happy, where every day you get to sit down with family, chats, jest and all that. And then today you find yourself in a different world where nobody talks to each other. There is nothing like family dialogue. There is nothing like sitting and having that dinner together in a parlor,
Yes.
Celebrations comes, family gets filled up, but now it's no more like that. So you tend to want to fix that. So it becomes a more critical issue to face. And because I couldn't do anything verbally, or my opinions don't really count as a child, I decided to start writing on a book. And in the book, I thought that maybe it will be my own way of contributing to world issues, because whether we like it or not, I see family as a foundation of the world. Wherever we find ourselves, the entire world, every single person comes from somewhere.
Yes.
And it's also the way he goes about with his life is based on how he was raised back home.
Yes.
How he was raised to critically analyze issues, how he sees issues happening within his environment, and how he's able to tackle those issues within him and all that. But if there is a rift growing up, you tend to face so many challenges with the lack of support from family and all that. That can actually escalate to a more different mental issue that is today harboring the entire society. So broken homes can be as a result of disconnecting from your children, your siblings and all that, and that can actually deteriorate and then keep creating a cycle that might have not just your family but also families to be created in the future.
How do people who are raised in such homes break that cycle so they don't go on to create it and then keep the cycle going?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, I see family as a foundation of the entire world.
Yes.
If every family can turn out to be a well-formed family, I think the entire world would be in a really stable space. But then if you want to raise productive children in the society, you yourself have to be productive.
Yes.
So when you realize that you are harboring children, your life is no more about you, it's about your child. So whatever it is that you are doing personally or selfishly or whatever, you have to stop it. Your entire focus should be about raising a productive child so that he doesn't go astray, so that he doesn't do what he's not supposed to do.
Yes.
So that's why even families who fight or have issues, it is always considered an act of, shall I say indecency? No, not really. But it's always considered a bad thing to actually fight in front of your children, because children don't actually really learn by what you teach them. They learn by what they see you doing every day. So if they constantly see you having these tussles back and forth, fighting with each other, it's going to be infused in their mind, whether they like it or not. And in the future, even if they don't want to do that, it might actually be as an effect of what they have grown up seeing, because that's accumulating in their own brain. So in order to raise productive children in a society, you have to be productive yourself. And in that essence, you have to stop whatever you're doing and then focus on raising your children better, well for the society.
Yes. That will lead to raising kids that will break the cycle eventually.
Yes.
So what's the name of the book, please?
The Antidote to a Toxic Life.
The Antidote to a Toxic Life. Yes. You also have a podcast, the Aliey Abbas Inspires podcast. What is the mission behind that? What do you hope to achieve with that?
Okay, so when I started my podcast, initially, I wanted to break the barriers of the ideation of the podcast that I've seen internationally. Okay. So podcasts have always been about talking about current issues and the understanding the cycles around the inceptions of problems and how they align, but never really about the solutions to those issues. So my focus on my podcast was basically to bring the truth, ideology, and the essence of what it means to know what you can do to change issues around you or to inspire others around you. As a fact of my journey, I've learned a lot of things that I would love to share as a knowledge. So I thought using my podcast to actually shape and share that knowledge, give people a different perspective towards analyzing and also approaching issues that they face in their communities, I thought is a great thing. So I decided to just start my journey on my podcast, which is basically sharing knowledge, also sharing the basic truth about life, and then also giving directives on how to solve issues as well.
What is the biggest lesson you've learned so far on your journey, and what advice do you have for young change makers trying to make a difference in the world?
Well, I think I will start by saying that the biggest lessons I've learned so far is if it's meant to be, it will be, no matter what and no matter how long. I think over time we stress so much about things that we're facing every day that we thought, or we get frustrated if they don't work out. Not knowing that if it is meant to be, it would definitely be, nothing can really stop it. I think growing up as a child, I wanted so many things, but then I was in this cage environment. I felt like I was saddled. I felt like I was never going to achieve anything if I remained there and all that. But that's actually the truth. I will never have achieved anything if I remained there. But then I thought they were almost impossible to achieve. But then I wanted so many things. And the biggest lesson that I've learned is if it is meant for you and if you want it so badly, you will find yourself living those dreams live over time without even understanding where. And part of those, what they call it, dreams were, as a child, I wanted to study in one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And I didn't even know how to go about that because not being allowed to even study abroad. Just when I thought I gave up on that dream, I was fetched with an opportunity to study in the Side Business School, University of Oxford, out of nowhere. And when I saw that, I was even shocked. I was like, how, me? And it was FMDQ, which is the first integrated financial market in Nigeria, that sponsored everything for us. I went there in the year 2022, saddled with the idea, and I was in Oxford. And I was like, wow, studying in Oxford. I thought I gave up my dream of being a pilot. Out of nowhere, it came back into my life. And then I was able to do that. I've always wanted to see myself inspiring people and also doing a lot in the development space, just helping in the humanitarian ways I can, just contributing to solving real world issues. And today I can tell you that in that space, I'm one of the most recognized people who are actually doing great in the global world, which also inspired the ideation of me being made as a global advisor with an American company, where I guide, I mentor, advise entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs around the world and provide access to funding for them around the world as well. So that as well has given me more essence to knowing that whatever you want in life, as much as you want it, you don't have to really stress it. Just calm down. When it's time, it will happen.
If it's meant to be, it will be. You don't have to worry about the how.
But
it will be.
Just do you.
Before I ask you the last question, you mentioned that you mentor startups. So what advice would you give people starting up their businesses?
Well, so the market is a very diverse space, I would say. So we have a lot of young startups and entrepreneurs coming up every day, but we have a really big barrier. For example, Nigeria, they have a really hard time understanding the difference between having a retail business and being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So a lot of people who have retail businesses think they are entrepreneurs, which is not really the case. Retailing business is buying and selling of certain product, but while being an entrepreneur is owning what you are selling, being the actual creator of the product that you're selling.
Right.
So it's an entire different thing. So when you talk about entrepreneurship and they want funding and they want to actually be in the global market, you can't be that if you're not an entrepreneur. However, what you can do as a retailer is create mediums like Alibaba Express or Booking.com, just a space whereby buyers and sellers came to meet and you become the intermediate person. So entrepreneurship business is business that you create that keeps thriving even when you're not there. Even when your face, your effort stuff is not there, it's still moving. So as an advice to these entrepreneurs is try and create something rather than carry somebody's ideas or products to sell. Though it's a good thing still, if you want to push the business forward, it's a good thing. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, it means that you have to find a creative way of creating something or adding an innovation to that thing to innovate on whatever it is that you want to sell. So that's the thing.
All right. So where can our viewers find you online?
Oh, your typical Aliey Abbas always. On all social media is Aliey Abbas. Once you put it even on Google, you'll see Aliey Abbas. You will see everything that I'm doing, everything that I do as well. So Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, anything, just Aliey Abbas. And my Aliey Abbas is not spelled as A-L-I, it's A-L-I-E-Y, A-B-B-A-S.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Aliey Abbas, for coming on Success Diaries.
Thank you.
I did learn a lot from you.
Thank you so much.